Okay, so let's say you wanted to do this example using Desmos. Now, the Desmos version is going to look very similar to the version that you did when we did it by hand. So you're going to see a lot of similarities here, and it's pretty easy. And for this example, the by hand version is probably just as easy as the Desmos version, but if we needed to do a large weighted mean where there were a lot of categories, you might use Desmos for that. So let's go through it step by step. And again, it's going to be very similar. So I'm going to open up Desmos, and again, I'm going to have a table. And for my X values, that's going to be my score and my average. My Y values will be the weight. And then we're going to make another column here. And that's going to be the new thing for this particular example, is that you can have multiple columns. You don't need just X's and Y's. So if you remember back, and you can look at your notes, the test average was an 85, and then the midterm average was a 75. The final was an 80, and then the homework you got 100. So in this column, I'm going to put the weights just like I did in the handwritten example. 0.4, and then 0.2, and then 0.25, and then 0.15. Now I'm going to come over to this third column, and we needed the X values times the weight values. And what's cool about Desmos is it's going to let you just define that in that top portion of the column. So I'm going to go X1, and then I'm going to go times, so shift 8, and then Y1, and you'll see that it does all of those calculations for you. If you check your notes, 3415, 2015, those are the values that you had. And so I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to remind you that the weighted mean was the sum of the values in that X times the weight column all over the sum of the weight. Now, how do I get Desmos to do the sum? Okay, well, that's new. So what will come down into the next line, and what we need is to get the sum of the x1 times x2 columns. Now, sum doesn't work, but if you type TOTAL, total, and then parenthesis, and we're going to get some fairly complex titles to our columns. So I'm going to get into this mode where I'm going to highlight it all, and I'm going to copy. So I'm going to go Control C, and then I'll come back down here to the total and go Control V, and it will paste whatever was in that column. And again, we get to 84, and if I wanted to do the total of that second column of the weights, I could go just Y1, and it was 1 again, so it's not a big deal. And then so if I want to get that mean, and we had 84 divided by 1 gives me 84%. So that's a nice, quick, easy way to use Desmos to do some work. And again, if you've got to do repeated calculations, set up a table and let Desmos do the grunt work for you. Okay, moving on.